Next thing I need is a way to mount the bottom barrel onto the gasifier bed. I got this 3/4 inch, like 1/8 wall tubing. See if this works. Wish it was always that easy. Boy, I'm getting really good at forgetting to hit the record button. So anyways, I've got my frame right here. That's gonna do 90% of the supporting of the bottom of the gasifier. Now the reason when I boxed my lower barrel in, I raised this lip up to be the same as the rest of the barrel, was I was planning on building a mount that went inside of this lip all the way around. On my last truck, I built basically like a 3/4 moon just out of plate steel. And the way that I did that one, that was the support for the barrel, and then the actual mount was a dog leg that came off and hooked over the top of the frame rail. And I've had no problems with that so far. Granted, on the other system, the heat exchanger housing is separated and it has its own support leg inside of the truck bed. So with this one, I'm closely copying that, but I won't have the support over there. Instead, I've got this piece of 2-inch wide, 1/4 inch thick flat stock, and I just used the rosebud and heated it up, bent some corners into it, using one of these very hot pieces of tubing as a template, because my frame at the top is 3 inches wide and it's 9.5 inches deep. So I made a 2-inch dog leg down the side, 3-inch wide flat, 9.5 inches wide or tall. So this will loop over the top of the frame rail and rock down into place. And it will sit on the flatbed just like this. And then there will be another bend over here with a leg that comes up. That will get welded to, will be the passenger side outer cooling rail, frame rail for the bed. So I'll have support from the frame and over to the bed, 2 points of contact instead of on my other truck. I had one for the mount, one for the heat exchanger. This time I'm doing both points of contact, one on the frame, one on the bed. And that's just gonna sit just like this. So it'll be over top of the frame rail. And if you remember, I told you I wanted a 1/4 inch gap here and a 1/4 inch gap here. Now I would like to say that I planned this out for that gap using 1/4 inch material, but this is more of a Bob Ross thing. It's a happy little accident. I was just trying to come up with something, a way that I can mount the barrel, and this is what my eye struck on, so that's what I'm going with. So this will sit basically tight to the frame rail on the outside of this, and I'm going to bend this one down and it's going to go to the inside of the frame rail. That'll come into play later. That gives me a 2-inch width of the frame to do a little bit more camouflaging later down the road if I get around to it. Probably won't be before I start running and driving the truck, because as soon as it's done I'll be driving it. So yeah, anyways, I got those 3 bends done and I got one more to go over here. Bring this down, and this will be, I've already went out and test fitted this onto the frame, make sure it's going to sit right. It does, works great. So I'll make this other bend, I'll take this out to the truck, set it in place, and then make sure the barrel sits in it nice and it's not, you know, tight between the frame and the flatbed frame. And if everything sits right, I'll bring it back in here, and this external frame that I built will get welded onto this piece. So at that point, the barrel will just drop straight in and sit in place. I might still make some form of a mechanical connection. On the last one, I have 2 studs hanging out of the bottom of the barrel, and those bolted down to the moon plate that I built. I might do that still on this one, just put some tabs hanging off of this that the bottom barrel can bolt onto, because I'd like to have this thing as sturdy as possible. I don't want it able to move around while the truck is driving down the road, obviously. But I built this tight into the corners, so as long as the barrel is sitting all the way down, it shouldn't be able to move. But I think I'll still probably put some bolts in it, just as a safety measure. Yeah, so I'm gonna get this other piece bent, and then we're gonna go test fit it on the truck. Now we got the lower mount squared up onto the barrel. I've already test fitted it on the frame again, made sure everything's good. I'll go ahead and weld these two together on the flats here, here, and here. And then I'll flip it over and give it some stitches down that center cross member. Go. A couple more stitches down the middle. We'll be ready to go get the lower drum mount onto the bed, placed front to back, and then weld onto the bed over here. See how it fits in here. Pretty nice fit. It's actually a really nice fit. That tells me where I need to trim this off. That's why it's always worth to leave a little extra. You got more room to work with. So I can cut this off, get the bottom edge of this frame rail prepped for the weld, then I'll bring the barrel out, set it on here, and then I can position it front to back, see exactly where it's going to land. Then this can get welded on. And I also see there's a hole in the frame right here. I might put a dowel on the bottom of this for it to index into the frame. So there it's sitting in the cradle. Now, because of this rib right here and how much extra material I have on it, the barrel's actually sitting tilted towards the driver's side. Not a big deal, because this is going to get cut off in here, and that'll drop this edge down. You can see how crooked it is. I'm just using a 4x4 as a straight edge, so it's leaning in pretty hard. So I'll cut that off, drop it down, get this trued up and sitting nice and square. And I've got a straight edge sitting up on top of the cab, and just a rough measurement looks like I'm going to have about a 34-inch tall hopper. So that'll hold a lot of fuel, hopefully enough to keep the V10 going for, you know, I don't know, 60-70 miles. See, I got good clearance on the spring hanger. I can fit my finger in there, no problem. I got good clearance on the back, fit my finger in there, no problem. That gives me plenty of room to build my condensate tank that will hang down right here. And see, that mount sits tight to the frame. Of course, it'll tighten up a little bit more when the barrel rocks in place. You can see the drum level with the bottom of the cab, which is also exactly level with the bottom of the truck frame. So that ended up sitting exactly where I wanted it. And all of that to make sure I got some more hopper capacity for this truck. Cool. I'm gonna get that cut off and welded in place, and I'll see you guys in the next video.